This is no place for a
Get your
gentleman.
weapons ready! Fair one! Ah, shit! You are!
It's locked, all right. This is despicable. I have this thirst for blood. sister. I don't know if I have the strength. Are you all right, Miss Shun?
My name is Xiao Shun. This is the proper way to address someone in my country.
I do apologize, Xiao Shun. Are you all right?
Yes, I am. This is the only place where I can find some kind of serenity. Some way to remember my dear Matthew.
Are you on your own? Do you have any friends or family who you could be with?
I have family and friends, but I need to be here alone. One day maybe I'll go back to them, but not now. I need silence, and I need sadness.
You should not be by yourself. Grief can be a terrible trial, and it's even worse when you're alone.
Thank you for your sincere words, Dr. Reed. I sense you trying to help me, even if I don't quite understand why.
Tell me how your husband died, Xiao Shun.
Matthew died of the Spanish flu, like so many others. It's a mundane cause of death these days, but for me it meant the end of the world.
At this time, there is so little medical science can do to defeat this terrible epidemic. I'm truly sorry.
The worst thing is not his death, even if it tears me apart. The worst is not to have seen it coming, to have lost him so quickly, even before realizing it.
Did he hide his condition from you?
Matthew was a smiling type, a happy sort. Everything that I am not. Did he laugh at his death to come, or did he not realize what was going to happen? I'll never know.
The Spanish flu may be the worst disease mankind has ever faced. Why are you blaming yourself?
You don't understand. I didn't know he was so sick. I didn't realize the gravity of his situation until it was too late.
As harsh as this sounds, we are all equally vulnerable to this awful disease. It can take the strongest man in just a couple of days.
I never said goodbye to Matthew. We never realized how bad it was. We laughed about it even. He always made me laugh. Now I don't have enough tears to shed.
You realize you can't stay here forever, don't you? Eventually you'll have to leave the cemetery.
Why? Why should I go? Since this is the only place I can find peace of mind.
But you're not dead. There is a difference between visiting the dead and staying with them.
You sound like you're no stranger to the pain I feel.
Let's just say, I too have a good reason to visit cemeteries at night.
Please accept my condolences for your loss then, Dr. Reed.
Are you a doctor yourself? Is this why you feel so guilty for not saving your sick husband?
No, I am not. But I still need to blame someone for Matthew's death. And who else, if not his wife, who did not see it coming?
I'm a physician. One of the best in the country. But I was unable to save my own sister, Mary. She died in my arms.
Why tell me this? Is it supposed to make me feel better?
No. But I wanted you to know that you have done nothing wrong. Unlike me.
May I ask what caused the death of your sister?
You could say she was also killed by a terrible disease. A disease I have sworn to fight and cure, no matter how long it takes.
Thank you for sharing that with me, Dr. Reed. Maybe it's time we start to rebuild our lives, you and I.
Have you recent news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
I heard that she used to help the refugees, but unfortunately you don't see her around anymore.
You should go home now.
I think you're right. Cemeteries are for the dead, for they need silence too. Thank you for your honesty and your wisdom, Dr. Reed.
Thank you for your company, Xiaoshun. Take care on the way home.
Maybe I'll see you again in Whitechapel. Goodbye for now.
Goodbye for now.
So many new graves. Why do I still feel so disconnected from the others?
Since I can't reveal myself to my mother now, I must find a discreet spot to attend the ceremony. I can't believe I'm doing this. I have this thirst for blood.
I am the resurrection and the life. He that believeth in me, though he were dead, yet shall he live. And whosoever liveth and believeth in me shall never die. We commend unto thy hands of mercy, most merciful Father, the soul of our sister departed, and we commit her body to the ground. Earth to earth, ashes to ashes, dust to dust.
Why kill my Mary and stick her here in this cold, god-awful place?
These are the legal requirements for the epidemic, madam.
Avery, I feel so tired. Please take me home.
Yes, madam.
Mary. What have I done? If I could only change one thing. One thing. This is a nightmare.
Jonathan, there is nothing you can do but accept it.
What brings you here?
I thought you could use the company. I am so sorry for your loss, Jonathan.
I wish the tears would come. But I'm empty. And I feel a hypocrite.
Let your pain run free, Jonathan. Don't smother it. What you feel is your humanity. Don't be so quick to lose it.
She had been scouring the most dangerous parts of London in search of me. And it led to her death.
Jonathan, don't.
I still hear her last thoughts. They echo in my head. Her mind shattered, and it haunts me.
Jonathan, stop. Listen carefully. You must come to terms with this. You must learn to live with what happened.
I'm learning. Every night is a new lesson. What I am, what I must do to survive. But my sister, she shouldn't have suffered because of my weakness.
Don't you see? You're doing the work of our enemies, feeding your remorse. We are weakest when we grieve, and the guilt blurs our senses.
And so this is why you're here. To warn me. You've felt this pain yourself. You too have endured this.
I don't want to lose you, Jonathan. I've lost so many friends. Loved ones I cherished. Pray for Mary's forgiveness, if you must.
Thank you, my lady. I will.
Good. But be careful. If I found you here, others may too.
What should I do then?
St. Mary's Church is not far from here. Go there and make your peace. Find the solace you need.
My lady wants me to confess.
No, Jonathan. It's you who wants to confess, I think.
Good evening, sir. It's me again.
Leave me alone, I say, whoever you are.
All right. I shan't insist. Goodbye for now, sir.
And off to church he goes, a newborn seeking divine consent to lick the blood from the soft and pointy crown.
Who are you? Make yourself known.
Newborn, you reek of guilt and pointless compassion. Shed your skin, forget your old weaker self.
What do you want from me?
Ascalon does not approve of lone wolves who bring unwanted eyes to our pastures.
So your name is Ascalon?
Ascalon's will is vampire law. Learn them, abide by them, or I shall return as your judge and jury.
These immortals try my patience with their plans and unsolicited counsel.
An H! An H!
Yes? What is it that you want?
I'm sorry to disturb you at such a late hour.
No worries, my son. I'm still quite awake, having just returned from a funeral.
Yes, I know. I've forgotten what I wanted. I don't know.
May I help you, child? You seem somewhat perturbed.
I haven't the strength to cross the threshold. I wish to pray, to cleanse my soul.
The church is shut by order of the bishop. But I'm still the vicar of St. Mary's, if that is any use to you, my son.
You seem to me a good soul, Vicar. But this is a personal matter.
There are no secrets from God, my son. If your heart needs comfort, consider me your chapel. For I can be as silent as stone.
I've words for one departed. They're not for living ears to hear.
Your eyes burn with rage, yet I see the pain that lies beyond. I am here to lighten the burden of all God's creatures. Whatever you tell me is between us and the Lord.
Very well, priest. As you seem quite adamant.
Open your heart, my son. Tell me what burdens you. With whom do you wish to speak?
She was my sister.
You seem so troubled by the loss of this girl. What happened to her?
She was murdered.
I see. And how are you feeling, my son?
She died because of me. How do you think I feel?
I have a final question for you, my son. This is of the utmost importance.
Ask your question, Vicar.
What words would you like to say to your poor sister?
I killed you. There's no excuse. My dear Mary, forgive me.
You have been heard, my son, and your burden will lighten if your words are sincere. Go in peace now, and live your life in the way she would have wanted.
There. I confessed to that vicar. Do I feel better? Only time will tell.
Good evening, Doctor. Can I help you?
Have you any news of Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
It appears the dispensary is now a major source of contagion in Whitechapel. Someone should do something about it, but no one cares.
Goodbye, Mr. Darby. Farewell. Good evening, Christina.
Change your mind, Mr. Reed?
What do you know about Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
2 girls I know went to the dispensary yesterday. Nobody has seen them since. I worry about them, in case bad things happen.
Goodbye, miss. Take care of yourself as best you can.
It's a leech! Get out! Back, demon! Back! Over there! There's one of them vermin! It's one of them!
Remorse and pain are precious when binding you to the earth. You. I remember you. Fear be gone. I would harm no child of my making.
This is your doing. You made me this creature. What are you?
I am the land.
You are our champion.
Riddles and rhymes. You took my life. Now you insult my mind.
Be stilled, my child. I bring understanding.
What is it you seek?
This age is sickly. An ancient poison, an older rage, brewed in a cauldron newly forged.
This has something to do with the epidemic.
Seek truth, my champion. Defeat the serpent of knowing with iron spur.
I've had enough of others making decisions for me, pretending to know how I should feel or behave. So the vampire who made me is some sort of disembodied entity? Or was he just projecting this vision in my mind? Maybe Edgar can help me with this one.
Damn. The pain.
Good evening, Nurse Brannigan.
Good evening, Doctor.
What can you tell me about the recent events in the hospital?
That Mr. Hampton killed Miss Jones in her room, then ran away.
And did you see all this?
No. I was working by the tents when it all happened. I only entered the room when they asked me to clean up the blood.
Where is Miss Jones's body?
I don't know. I'd imagine the morgue. It all happened so quickly.
Did you see Sean Hampton leave the hospital?
I think I saw a silhouette exiting the hospital gates after the shouting started. At first I thought it was someone who was just scared, but... well, maybe it was him.
Goodbye, nurse. Call me if you need assistance.
Fear and disgust on every street corner. The daily routine.
Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Fear and disgust on every street corner. The daily routine. Damn.
Good evening, Miss Howcroft. How are you tonight?
I need blood, Doctor. Warm, rich, vibrant blood.
I'll leave you, Mistress of the Dark, to your nocturnal activities.
God protect us. You've got a leech in the hospital.
Yes, my hospital. My mission is to heal while you go about warring.
You've set the table for a snake. I wonder why there's venom in your food.
I'm growing tired of your song. You're a woodsman, McCallum, not a doctor. Return to your hunt.
Remember, I've a good nose for machinations. I can flare the scent at a mile. You can't hide from the god.
Leave him, Jonathan. This is sacred ground. Neutral territory. And I just had the carpet cleaned. By the sacred stole, this is very bad news. Bad news indeed.
What happened?
The hospital has been attacked. We have injured patients, at least one dead and several missing. This has spiraled out of control. Even the most infirm are asking to be allowed to return home.
We cannot have the people lose faith in this institution. This hospital is their only hope.
Of course, you're right. But we cannot afford a public scandal. It would ruin us. We must restore order, and quickly.
You mentioned a dead patient. Who is he?
She, Jonathan. She was Miss Harriet Jones. I found her room like a slaughterhouse. Blood everywhere. The duty nurse is taking care of the mess.
Very well. I'll help you.
I know this place means something to you. I have noticed how you suppress your appetite when around the staff and patients.
You need to know you can trust me, Edgar.
I do, dear fellow, I do.
Please then, tell me.
Sean Hampton, the man we thought we'd saved at the docks. It seems he was infected after all.
So Hampton became more beast than man.
Exactly. And now Guard of Prewen suspects the hospital of vampire activity. Do you realize what that could mean for us?
Rest assured, I will protect you and your staff.
McCullum is a fanatic. The Guard will stop at nothing. You don't know what they're capable of, Jonathan.
Very well. Since I brought Mr. Hampton here, I will put an end to this. If you don't mind, I have a few questions.
I'd be delighted to help you if I'm able.
I just recently met the strangest creature in Whitechapel. He was immense. He mocked me and accused me of hypocrisy.
Perhaps it was a skull. London's streets are overflowing with them these days.
It was a vampire, all right. But what kind, I'm not sure. He was large and very fast.
If you find anything more about this creature, the Brotherhood would greatly appreciate any information you could spare.
He was observing me with the obvious intent to do me harm. His very presence evoked a palpable sense of menace.
You need to be careful, Jonathan. We've no idea what this creature really is.
I recently tried to enter a church. It has been a very unpleasant experience.
The Brotherhood's research on the matter of faith and vampirism has proved somewhat insubstantial, to say the least.
Is this proof that I'm cursed in the eyes of the divine?
The wrath of the Almighty? There's no way of knowing. It could be subconscious guilt, or irrational fear, or deep-seated beliefs.
It's hard to explain in terms of science, that's for sure.
I'm sure Lady Ashbury will have far greater insight into this matter than little old me.
What exactly happened here while I was absent?
Hampton turned, quite violently as it happened. Lurking about, attacked Miss Jones. To say he created quite a commotion would be an understatement.
Are you sure it was Hampton who killed Miss Jones?
There was blood everywhere, but no body. And you know the state she was in. I fear for what he did with her. Hopefully he just hid the corpse.
How did the Guard of Prewen come to hear of this?
McCullum has spies everywhere. He will jump at any opportunity to disparage the Brotherhood and show his contempt.
Who was that man in your office?
Geoffrey McCullum, actual leader of the Guard of Prewen. I suspect he's the man behind the rebirth of this old and dusty society.
They know I'm here now, don't they?
I can guarantee one thing. The Guard of Prewen would never dare to attack the hospital while I'm in charge here.
What do they hope to achieve?
Their ultimate goal is the eradication of all vampires in the country. They see you as a threat to mankind, Jonathan.
Thank you, Edgar. Sean Hampton lives and breathes for the well-being of his flock. There's no other place he would go but the docks.
Oh, Jonathan, I cannot believe my eyes. Poor woman, butchered by some savage scowl.
Yes, and I'm afraid I'm at least partially responsible. The man, the Scowl, I brought him here.
Jonathan, how could you say such a thing?
Forgive me if I feel despondent, for there seems to be no end to the suffering and death that surrounds us.
I'm always here for you, Jonathan.
What do you know of Ascalon? I was threatened by a creature, a vampire in Whitechapel, stating I had to obey the law of conduct.
What more can you tell me about him?
He was bigger than a man. Huge, in fact. He seemed to radiate violence. I thought he was going to tear me apart. Then he vanished.
Fergal, the executioner of Ascalon. You were fortunate he was not after you, but rather out doing his master's bidding.
What is Ascalon?
The Ascalon Club are the most powerful vampires in Britain and exert tremendous influence. Take my advice and stay well away.
I have experienced a certain difficulty when faced with holy symbols or trying to enter religious buildings. Have you?
Now that's quite a question. I don't know why, but yes, it has happened to me.
Is this a sign? The hand of God in action? Are we repellent unto heaven?
I don't have the answers, Jonathan. But I believe superstition and magic is just fact awaiting the lens of science.
Aren't you frightened?
Very little scares me, my dear. To be compelled to avoid symbols of faith does not concern me.
Have you embraced this woman, like the other patient, this Mr. Renfield?
Her name was Amelia. And no, I did not kill her. I vowed a very long time ago that I would never take another life, unless they ask.
Is there sufficient vitality in the blood of the sick and dying patients?
Yes, Jonathan. The hunger gnaws at me every waking hour. Frankly, I'm starving.
Temptation surrounds us. Rich, vital. How can you resist?
Over the years, any pleasure I once gleaned from feeding is long gone. I drink for sustenance. And though I still thirst for more, I restrain myself.
Thank you, my lady. I hope to see you again soon.
never seen so many people die.
Good evening, Nurse Hawkins.
Good evening, Dr. Reed.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Everybody's afraid. Death has always been a frequent visitor. But murder? How can we cope with that?
As a nurse at this hospital, it is your duty to deal with these things as best you can.
Yeah. Until it's my turn to have blood spread all over the walls. I entered the room first, Dr. Reed. I've seen what that monster did to the woman.
Goodbye, Nurse Hawkins. Good evening, Mr. Elwood.
Evening, Dr. Reed.
Why do you feel responsible for the injury, Thomas? What really happened?
I wasn't disfigured by any German shells. It happened during my leave. It was an accident.
Tell me what really happened then.
I went with a whore in Rouen. Dead drunk I was. The hotel was a shithole. There was a fire that night.
Did you start the fire? Were you trying to avoid going back to the front? That's not uncommon, you know.
No. It's just that I was asleep when the flames reached the room. The girl was long gone. Bitch never woke me up. Left me to burn.
Why lie about it?
Come on. It's one thing to come back disfigured by the Germans, and it's another to get injured in an accident that could have happened to anybody.
You know you can't hide forever. One day you'll have to face your loved ones. Until that day, you have no chance of real recovery.
My friends all died in the trenches. It's shameful enough to be alive with these stupid scars. I don't want my children to see me like this.
Can you tell me anything about recent events at the hospital?
Before the shouts and the noises, I think I heard whispers coming from the stairs. 2 voices, maybe more.
Did you recognize the voices? What did they say?
I couldn't hear. Sounded like they were arguing or something.
But the suffering continues.
You told me before you don't want your children to see you like this. Do you have any other family?
My sister Agatha has raised me nippers since their mother died. Don't want them to look at me like this.
How could children despise their father injured in the war?
What do you think? They saw me. Once. My poor angels left the room crying. They keep on having nightmares every week, my sister told me.
Your sister's not a child. I'm sure she has nothing but respect for a wounded soldier, and you are her brother.
You don't know my sister Agatha. She may be young, but she's all discipline and morality. If she ever found out what really happened...
She doesn't have to know.
She's a sly one, my sister. One day she'll find out the truth and knock 7 bells out of me. Nah. I'm better off here.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Elwood.
Time has lost its effect on me, but the suffering continues.
You have the right to disapprove.
Good evening, Dr. Strickland.
And good evening to you, Dr. Reed. Can I be of any help?
Did you know Dr. Ackroyd never reported your experimental research, despite the fact he doesn't agree with it?
Really? I didn't suspect he knew about my work. I must confess I am surprised.
Perhaps he thinks you should realize for yourself the danger of what you're doing.
See how condescending he can be? My God, he can be so irritating.
Can you tell me anything about the recent commotion in the hospital?
I'm sure it was not your fault, Dr. Reed.
My fault? What do you mean?
Oh, nothing. It's just... I heard it was you who brought the murderer inside our walls. But you couldn't know, could you?
Goodbye, Dr. Strickland. Good evening, Mr. Fiddick.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. Any news about my operation?
Please, tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital.
I heard Miss Jones call for help from her bedroom. There were some loud noises, like people fighting. All of a sudden, it went quiet. And then the nurse started screaming.
Do you know who the nurse was?
Not sure, but I think it was Nurse Hawkins.
Goodbye for now, Mr. Fiddick. I'll see you later.
Reads me like a book. Never could keep anything from her.
I'm all right. Don't waste your time with me.
Good evening, Doctor. How is my son doing?
Your son wished to die, Beatrice. Why did you hide such crucial information?
Are you not aware suicide is a crime? Mortimer could be thrown in jail. I can't let that happen. I won't.
I understand you fear the legal consequences, Mrs. Goswick. But don't you realize your silence significantly affects your son's case?
All my son needs is help and comprehension. Not judgment and punishment for what he may or may not have done.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
It's a disgrace. How on earth can patients be attacked in their own rooms?
Goodbye, Mrs. Goswick.
Don't waste your time with me.
As for me...
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
Admit it, Mortimer. Your mother had you hospitalized here because you tried to kill yourself.
Yes, it's true.
All right, then. This is the first time we've really shared information about your case. Shall we call this progress?
Call it what you want, Dr. Reed.
You can trust me. I won't report you to the authorities. My one and only concern is your health.
I guess I should thank you, then.
Can I help you in any way, Mr. Goswick?
I wrote a letter for my mother. She was supposed to read it after my death. But I suppose she doesn't have to read it now.
I see. And is this letter still near the place where you tried to take your own life?
Yes. And I don't want anyone reading my last words. I mean, I'm still here. If you bring me back that letter, then perhaps we'll talk.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
I had shouting coming from the first floor. I was asleep when it started.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
You always knew the words to calm the children, Helen. As for me... I'm so tired.
I'm quite busy right now, Dr. Reed.
What do you think of Dr. Tippett's opinion of your promotion, Waverley?
Tippett is a good practitioner. Maybe just a little too attached to his prestigious position at the Pembroke Hospital.
Really? That's exactly his diagnosis of you. A little too eager to get promoted? A little bit too proud?
He has the right to think so. But I deserve this promotion. And I don't consider it anything but well-earned.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
Nothing like this would have happened if we'd had enough staff and proper shifts.
So you don't think the blame is ours?
We all hold fast here, Dr. Reed. Our methods may differ, but we are all trying to make a difference.
Thank you for your time. We'll talk later. Good evening, Dr. Tippett.
Dr. Reed, any good news to share?
Nurse Brannigan has been recently accused of neglecting her professional duties. Tell me what you really think about it.
This kind of protest is nothing but elitist bullshit. I trust Nurse Brannigan with my life. She has what it takes to be a great doctor.
Do you really think she could be the next Elizabeth Blackwell?
Believe me, Dr. Reed, a time will come when skill and skill alone will determine who can be a physician and who cannot.
Can you tell me anything about the recent commotion in the hospital?
It's a tragedy, pure and simple. The hospital is meant to be a safe haven to all. We failed the people who trusted us with their care.
Do you think I should not have brought Mr. Hampton back here?
It's not your fault. You rescued that poor soul. It was the Christian thing to do. But we should have noticed his instability.
Goodbye, Dr. Tippett.
Safer here than anywhere else in the...
Good evening, Milton.
Good evening, Doctor. Still trying to save lives?
I'd like to see your goods.
Wise choice, Dr. Reed. A reliable gun is what everybody needs these days. Another night with the glorious battalion of Pembroke.
Hey, Doc.
What can you tell me about the recent commotion in the hospital?
All I know is I ain't letting anyone rip my throat out in my sleep. I found myself a nice blade, Doc. I'm ready.
I'll leave you for now, Mr. Cox.
But no less dangerous.
Hello again, Mr. Blight.
Good evening, Dr. Reed. You doing your rounds as usual?
Goodbye, Mr. Blight. Take care of yourself. It seems the Priwen are redoubling their patrols in the district. I must be more careful.
Fear no evil. We do the Lord's
In this letter, Mortimer Goswick does nothing to hide his desire to die. I could give it to his mother, but doing so would betray his trust. It's locked.
I will not let you down, my boy.
Good evening, Mr. Goswick. How are you?
I'm okay.
I have retrieved your letter, Mr. Goswick. I can assure you that nobody read it but me.
Thank you. This is for you, then. For your help. And for your silence.
I think you should talk to your mother. It would be good for both of you.
Thank you, Dr. Reed. I'll think about it. Now please, let me be.
I've read your letter, Mortimer. You wrote about an unbearable feeling of despair while the world crumbles around you. Tell me more about it.
There's nothing more to say, really. It's hurtful, it's unbearable, and I don't ask anyone to understand what I feel.
Despair is a deadly poison I've tasted myself, sir. We're only tempted to drink it because we're terrified by the uncertainty of the next minute.
I know that perfectly, Doctor. For I waited for so long, hoping that the next minute would be less unbearable.
I have to go now, sir. But don't hesitate to contact me if you need any help.
Good evening, sir. Doctor.
To calm the children, Ellen. As for me,
I have wasted too much energy for so little result.
Best stay back, sir.
Human! Away with you! We will crush this beast! Watch out, murderous bastard! Stay back, beast! Remember your vows, friend! Be strong! He's dead!
You know the game, you pay for peace of mind.
Can't you just look the other way this week, Joe? We can sort it out, right? We'll distribute flowers on this.
It's locked. I can't believe I'm doing this.
Gabrielle can be the answer to all your problems. As long as you have the money.
Good evening, my dear colleague.
Have you any news on Nurse Crane and her dispensary?
It seems her dispensary isn't so busy nowadays. A good thing for the Swanborough cordial.
I'd like to see what kind of medicine you're selling. It's locked, all right. It's locked, all right.
We do the Lord's work here. Look lively! It's on to us! Stupid fucking beast! Over there! There's one of them vermin!
Mark my words, miss. These murders are the work of a vampire.
A vampire?
Not a drop of blood left in his body. This is the work of a vampire.
A vampire hunter.
You best be off to your hunting then. For if the sewer dog is back, and hunting all these poor folk, he needs a catching.
A sewer dog? What's it look like?
Good evening, Miss Cox.
Hello again, Dr. Reed. What do you want?
Can I see what you have to sell?
As long as you have money, I'll show you all I have.
Good evening, Miss Cox.
Hello again, Dr. Reed. What do you want?
I'm looking for Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where I could find him?
The sad saint? I heard he was mugged or something.
Yes, he was. But he left hospital recently.
You don't say. Well, I suppose it's good news for the homeless and the useless. Ask them, they must know something.
Goodbye, Miss Cox.
Good evening, sir. Have you witnessed any suspicious activity or strange events recently?
And what do you define as a strange event? More to the point, who are you?
My name is Ichabod Throgmorton, vampire hunter extraordinaire and warden of the East End.
A vampire hunter? Really?
I know what you're thinking. I'm just another lunatic howling at the moon, but I'm not. The bloodsuckers exist, and they're close.
Mr. Throgmorton, I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. I'd like to hear more about these vampires you're hunting.
A man of science? Well, I'll be glad to enlighten you.
What can you tell me about this neighborhood?
Did you hear about what happened to Jack Gillingham? Oh boy. It's a shame I wasn't around to protect him.
It's impossible to protect everyone. The violence seems endemic in this part of town.
But it's my duty. I am convinced Jack Gillingham was killed by a vampire. These evil rodents are spreading like a plague.
So, how exactly are you protecting these people? I'm curious.
I patrol late at night, investigating anything unusual. I try and encourage people to stay indoors, but people are careless.
Can I help in any way?
Actually, yes. I plan to put up posters to alert the population to the vampire threat.
Are you asking me to paste posters about vampires around the docks?
If you wouldn't mind. If you did that, then I can focus on my patrols.
How do you identify a vampire?
It's simple, really. They can't stand daylight. They're afraid of garlic and holy symbols. They also cannot enter a house without being invited.
Have you ever killed one of these creatures? Yourself, I mean.
Of course I have. What kind of question is that? It's a dirty business, believe me.
Have you heard of the Guard of Priwen?
Of course. They're dedicated hunters. A little militant for my taste, but they do let anyone join.
Were you ever tempted to join the Guard yourself?
I did think about it, but I'm more of a silent hunter. They're more of a sanitary militia.
So you hunt alone? That sounds risky.
Vampires are just like every other predator. They hunt when they're hungry and follow certain patterns. It's just a matter of observation and patience.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me, Mr. Throgmorton?
The sad saint? He should be at his night asylum at this hour. But I cannot tell you how to find it, sorry.
Really? Why is that?
It's nothing personal, Doctor. I'm sure your intentions are good, but people who sleep there, they have plenty of reasons to hide.
I could make you tell me, but I respect your refusal. You really believe Sean is a saint, don't you?
All I will say is this. Gossip has it that when he was a child, he was molested. By a priest of all people. Funny thing is, though, it only strengthened his faith.
Maybe at least you can tell me who could help me find him.
Tell you what, go and chat with Tom Watts. He's a bartender and good judge of character. If he talks to you, then it's fine by me.
Goodbye, and good hunting, Mr. Throgmorton.
Times like these, a good drink's just as likely to cause a problem as to solve one.
Welcome back, Doctor. What can I do for you?
Tom, I need to find Sean Hampton as quickly as possible. I've been told you could help me.
I heard the sad saint was recovering at Pembroke Hospital. Did he leave or something?
I believe he returned to his flock. Can you confirm that?
Oh, I bet you're right. Sean can't help but worry about the poor and sick. Oh, I guess it has something to do with what happened to him as a baby.
Please, tell me.
Well, I don't like to gossip, but I heard that the sad saint was abandoned as a baby in front of a Catholic orphanage in Dublin. It would explain his faith and need to help everyone.
The important thing is I find him, quickly.
Why not try his night asylum? He takes care of those who need a meal or a roof there.
Where is it?
It's in an old warehouse, northwest of here. Just follow the bank to the west and go north when you reach the end of the pier.
Goodbye, Mr. Watts.
I think drink no longer stirs me. So few clients. What with the epidemic, no one dares go outside.
You're still working at this hour? That's what I call dedication.
Were you aware of Tom's past incarceration?
That's the first thing he told me when he offered me the job. He didn't want me hearing about his past from anyone else.
Did it surprise you to find out about it?
Not really. I was already aware of his reputation before I met him. That's why I came to the Turtle in the first place.
Most people would have run away because of that.
Not me. I thought a man like him could give me stability, you know? At least to some degree. And I wasn't mistaken.
Tell me, Sabrina, do you really believe Tom has renounced his life of crime?
He proves it to me every day he tells the truth. Tom Watts is a good man. One of the best.
And you don't think he might fall back into his sordid ways?
We can all do terrible things, Dr. Reed. And we never know what we're really capable of until it's too late.
Miss Cavendish, would you be willing to help me locate Sean Hampton?
You better ask Tom, sir.
Why not answer me directly?
We respect the privacy of our customers here, sir. Only Tom can decide who to speak to and what he'll say to them.
Goodbye, Miss Cavendish.
Be he cursed or not, he's just another lost orphan.
Good evening, Mr. Delaney.
What? Ah, you're a doctor.
I'm looking for Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where I could find him?
I really don't know. I heard he'd been abducted. I don't know if he's back.
Who could tell me then?
About the sad saint. I'll try asking Tom what's about him.
Goodbye, Mr. Delaney. Evening, Rufus.
Evening, Mr. Reed.
Do you know a man who lives in this part of town? A man named Sean Hampton. I'm looking for him.
Sorry, sir. I don't know a lot of folks around here. Most prefer to avoid me.
Well, I don't think you should talk to him. He may be very sick.
Thanks for the tip. You might want to check the Turquoise Turtle. It's a pub not far from here. The barkeep knows everyone in these parts.
So long, Rufus. Be careful. Take care.
All these whispers of monsters got folk gossiping and scared. It's people they should fear. Flesh and blood.
Good evening, madam. It's Dr. Reed again. May I come in?
You best come back in the morning, Doctor.
The disease takes away the good people too, madam. Why not let me in?
It's Mrs. Fishburne. Stella Fishburne. And yes, indeed. Why not let a doctor in? Nothing but worry.
It's locked.
So you have questions about the flu, then?
Yes, among other things.
Forgive my rudeness at the door. It's just my son doesn't like strangers coming in the house.
How is life around here?
Life has always been hard in the East End. But it's everywhere nowadays, isn't it?
Do you think the increase in violence has anything to do with the epidemic?
Don't know. But it's most likely linked to the gangs, if you ask me. Recently, it's like everyone has had to pick a side.
Violence has always fed on poverty, don't you think? It's a cruel law of the human condition.
And selfishness is their rotten fruit. These days, you could just die in the gutter, and no one will bat an eye.
May I ask what you do for a living, Mrs. Fishburne?
Since my husband died, I worked at the Dawson Rope factory, but it closed before the war. I occasionally help at the night asylum, in exchange for food.
Did your husband die in the war?
Oh no. My Jack was a docker. He died when my Seymour was just a lad. The poor boy saw his dad slip and fall from that scaffolding.
How do you pay the rent, then?
My Seymour works at the docks, just like his dad. He's very attached to the house he grew up in. It's not always easy, but we get by all right.
The orphan that regards you as a mother. Please tell me about him, Stella.
You mean Rufus? I wish I could do even more for the poor boy. Most people are so selfish.
But you're not.
Years may have passed, but I haven't forgotten how it feels to go through days with nothing but an empty stomach.
Your son's gone way beyond simply bullying people. He has a taste for blood, and you know it, don't you, Stella?
One night, he told me straight up, in his own words. It was several days after one of his episodes.
Why did he confess? Did you suspect something?
No. I guess he wanted his old mum to help him fight his, demons.
Did Seymour tell you everything that night?
More than I could stand. The words he used to describe his hate, his rage, how he feels when he's done it.
Stella, I know you are ashamed of your son's crimes. So why do you protect Seymour?
I can't report my own son, can I? Not a burden I could bear.
Burden? How do you mean?
They'd hang him for sure. I won't send my only son to his death.
I understand your pain, but you cannot mother him forever.
If someone ever found the courage to speak to the police, I will take my share.
Tell me about these demons Seymour needs your help to fight.
Seymour used to be such a happy child, and he is still a helping son most of the time. But when he gets angry, he can hardly contain his rage.
All men and women are born innocent, Mrs. Fishburne. But there can be a monster within any of us.
Do you think he can be cured, Doctor? Do you think something can extinguish this rage inside my Seymour?
Science has only just begun to investigate the mysteries of the human mind. Currently, we have more assumptions than fact.
There ain't no hope, then. Somehow, somewhere, my son has turned into a monster, and nothing will bring him back.
I'm trying to locate Mr. Sean Hampton. Do you know where he could be?
You talking about the one everyone calls the sad saint? The man who takes care of the homeless?
The very same, Miss Fishburne.
I'm sorry. I don't know where his shelter is. But if you ask around, I'm sure you'll get your answer.
Goodbye, Miss Fishburne. Take care of yourself.
I can't remember the last time I had a good sleep. I've been nothing but worry.
It's locked.
Another disgusting rule, did it, don't you think?
I don't think so. Wounds are clean.
A freaking vampire, then?
I can't say, but whatever did...
Seems like the guard of Prewen is on Sean Hampton's trail, too.
Send you to hell! Die! Pay for this! Crush the leech, boys! That's all you deserve! Back in the ground! Burn it, boys! Crush the leech, boys!
The wounds on this corpse are deep, the result of rabid rage. If this is Sean's doing, he's become a murderous beast. This poor man has just been slaughtered by a vampire. The body's still warm.
Send you to hell!
Best turn around if I were you. Shut! Step away! You're made! Yeah.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. May I have your attention for a minute?
Good evening, sir. My name is Giselle Paxton, but I don't have time for men like you.
Have we met before?
No, but I just need to look at your fancy clothes to know that you must be desperate to visit the docks at night.
That's quite judgmental of you.
Sir, I've led enough strikes when I had a job to identify you as an enemy of the working class.
Do you need medical help, Miss Paxton?
No, thank you.
May I ask what you do for a living?
I'm killing myself scraping for a living. And you? Have you ever had to struggle in your entire life?
As I told you, I'm a doctor. You have to work a lot to earn that title.
Oh, a doctor. Born with money in a nice house, were we? Was Daddy a banker, or a doctor himself?
Why such hatred? Are you judging me by my clothes and my job?
Course I am. Fuck, you're so blind. You don't even see your privilege. Lazy people like you disgust me.
What can you tell me about this vicinity?
Tell you what, just spend a few weeks here, and then ask me that question again. If you're still alive, I mean.
If you have something to say, say it. I'm getting tired of all this.
Oh. You want information instead? Well, here's some for you. Giselle Paxton does not like you at all, Doctor.
You don't know me, Miss Paxton, and yet you see me as an enemy.
Your manners, your clothes, your words tell me everything about you, sir. I know your kind, and you don't belong here.
You're right. I have never suffered from poverty. But that doesn't mean I don't fight it and its consequences.
I really doubt you ever had to fight for anything in your life, Dr. Reed.
You speak of strikes and class enemy. Am I right to assume you're involved in trade union activism?
You bet I am. Well, I was. Nowadays, I'm just another worker blacklisted by the...
You lost your job because of your beliefs.
Those bastards really hate a worker who refuses slave wages and unsafe conditions, especially when it's a woman.
Isn't the whole point of trade unions to help workers in need? Why don't they support you?
A few nights back, I lost the money my companions had asked me to hide. With me and my sister being penniless, they thought I stole it.
What really happened?
I drank too much that night. Strange men saw me count the money in that bar. Some sort of militia in uniform. I'm sure they robbed me.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me?
What is it you want? Does he owe you money? Has he displeased your Royal Highness? I'm no snitch, Mr. Fancy Pants.
Well, I'll leave you for now. Goodbye, Miss Paxton. It's locked, all right. It's locked.
Yeah, people are still working at this time. I'll be lurking soon before bed.
Good evening, miss. I'm Dr. Jonathan Reed. Can I help you?
A fancy doctor lurking at night by the docks? Not fishy at all.
And what about you? Working outside at night in this dangerous part of town?
You want to know my secret? I'm trying to earn money. And I'm Lottie Paxton, by the way.
Is it not dangerous to work here at night?
As long as I have good legs, I can run away from trouble. The sad saint now provides me and my sister a bed and a roof. I don't want to lose that.
Are you homeless, Miss Paxton?
Mr. Hampton's night asylum is our new home now. It's a safe place for me and my sister.
What can you tell me about the sad saint?
It's just the nickname of Sean Hampton, the sad saint of the East End. He gave me shelter, and he's not always sad.
What can you tell me about this place? How are things here?
It may be okay for a strong girl like me, but a dandy doctor from the city like yourself, you better watch your back, Mr. Reed.
You really think I should go back to a safer place, miss?
No. I think you had better stay and help as many people as you can. Just avoid the wet boot boys. Those bastards are worse than the epidemic.
Which local dangers must I avoid?
Well, the gangs, the thieves, the drunks, the jobless. A man with your fancy clothes will attract a lot of attention.
Well, I am not someone so easily intimidated.
Glad to hear that. And if you get into trouble, you can always seek help at Sean Hampton's shelter. No one would dare to be violent there.
I'm looking for Sean Hampton. Can you help me?
Mr. Hampton must be in his office at the night asylum he manages, I suppose. Why do you want to see him?
He was a patient of mine at the Pembroke Hospital, but he left abruptly.
I see. Well, Mr. Hampton is a discreet and dedicated man. I'm sure you'll find him soon enough.
Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
Glad to see you again, Mr. Reed.
Lottie, tell me about the Wet Boot Boys. I know they've threatened you.
Edwina Cox wanted me to provide her with information about Mr. Hampton's resources. I refused.
Is that not dangerous?
Fuck them and their lies. They claim they protect the interests of the neighborhood, but they are just greedy parasites like all the rest.
I respect your courage, Miss Paxton, and I hope life will never wear you down.
Dr. Reed, you know how to make a girl blush. I am glad you came to the docks, whatever your real reasons are.
Lottie, tell me about the death of your mother.
Giselle killed her, plain and simple. She killed her with her daily whims, her laziness, and her complaints.
That's quite a statement. You can't kill someone because you're fickle.
Mother was very ill, but I forgave Giselle. What I couldn't stand was how she cried at her funeral like she was the one left alone.
Perhaps your sister is not as tough as you are.
I know that, and I don't blame her. It just makes me sad that my own sister is the person I understand the least.
Giselle is the only family you have left. Don't you think it's time you forgave her?
Sometimes words are harder to forgive than acts, Dr. Reed.
Goodbye, Miss Paxton.
Come now, Lottie. There is still much work to do.
You again? What do you want?
Giselle, I know you sleep at Sean Hampton's shelter. What can you tell me about him?
He provided a roof for me and my sister. I am grateful, of course, but he gives me the creeps.
Why is that?
He's always sad, like he's about to cry. He's always asking us to get closer to God, to give ourselves to the Lord. Creepy.
Giselle, tell me about the death of your mother.
After our father died, Mother worked so hard she made herself sick. We spent all the money we had on useless drugs and doctors. It was hell.
Hell? What do you mean?
The three of us were exhausted and desperate. And when I'm desperate, I tend to get angry. And I'm hard to live with. Lottie said I killed Mother.
You should talk to your sister. Whatever happened when your mother died, the truth lies somewhere between your two versions.
I don't want to talk about that. It was years ago. We Paxton sisters are tough. We don't apologize.
Well, I'll leave you for now. Goodbye, Miss Paxton. It's locked.
why the long face, Doctor?
It looks like we both have changed a lot. I must confess, it saddens me, Sean.
Put your faith in the Lord, Doctor. He has a plan for all of us. We may not always see it, but he does.
Since you left Pembroke, the amount of blood that has been shed, it's hard to believe you, Sean.
Ask what you will. As the Lord is my shepherd, I will not speak a lie to you.
Aren't you afraid of what you've become?
We are blessed, Doctor. Can't you see it? The Lord has made us able to walk amongst the plague and aid those that need it.
Do you think this is a blessing when God's own house and holy symbols repel you?
If that is your burden, Doctor, so be it. But I do not fear the cross, nor am I forced to take the life of another. My kind doesn't share your imperfections.
But you must drink blood now to survive.
No, not your scripture. Whoso eateth my flesh and drinketh my blood hath eternal life, and I will raise him up at the last day. So saith the Lord. I only need to eat flesh, no blood.
Why return here?
This is my home. These people are my flock. You will always find me where I am needed.
Wonders never cease. Scal managing an asylum.
And what of you? A vampire doctor? Meals laid out before you. Yet you restrain.
And what about William Bishop? He tried to take care of you. But this hunger, this thirst, cannot be restrained.
Alas, poor William. He had a good soul, but was weak in spirit. He could not shake the thirst for booze, never mind blood. But have faith. My will is far stronger than his.
Why did you kill Miss Jones at the Pembroke Hospital?
Killed old Harriet? You must be mad, Doctor. Why would I do such a thing?
So you claim Miss Jones' death was not by your hand, nor the other incidents at Pembroke?
Though Harriet was an angry, spiteful woman, she was one of God's creatures. I have nothing but love for all he has made.
But you were close to her.
Of course. But she was lost, separated from the fold. She did not see the hand of the divine in my blessed condition.
People have been murdered. I've seen the blood. I don't believe you can be trusted.
Have a little faith, Doctor. If you will follow, I will guide you to the light.
How do you plan to do that?
Take this key of the old sewers. The entrance is by the riverbank, south from here. There you'll find all the proof you need.
I have to see for myself. But your sense of purpose and calm gives me some relief.
I'll be here when you return. If you still think I'm a threat then, well, I'll surrender myself to your judgment.
You again? What do you want?
Well, I'll leave you for now. Goodbye, Miss Paxton. It's locked, all right.
not over there! There's one of them!
This door is solid. Means someone's serious about keeping people out. First place to look.
It's one of them!
This could be the public house Giselle Paxton mentioned. I should investigate further.
Steady, boy!
Means someone's serious about keeping people out.
Giselle's stolen money. Priwen has some unethical ways of financing their war. I cannot enter. That doesn't work. So that's it. These wheels control the water level. Gate should shut properly now. That doesn't work. It's locked.
These maggots have escaped the wrath of Ascalon for too long. It is time to purge the sewers of their filth.
You again! The one they call the sewer dog.
Hold your tongue, newborn, or I'll crush you like a maggot.
You've let the beast consume you.
Finally! A touch of lucidity. You shall learn to respect the laws of Ascalon. I am Fergal Bansha, the hand that crushes all. Whence you vanished, I'll slaughter these scalds while singing your name! I shall snap like a hare's brittle bones, newborn! Foolish Ekon! I shall tear thee apart and spill my blood to the pissing wells! Do you challenge the dictates of Ascalon? I shall crush you. Return to your apothecary and needles. Power you can. And thine shall be a fair skull to us. Down, stay down. Your blood is now mine. You found your death in me. I shall crush you. Return to your apothecary.
At least one skull escaped Fergal's wrath. The poor creature is bleeding to death. He cannot be far. How could he have made it this far? There's blood everywhere.
Safe we are, still. Drink now.
Bless you, Bridget.
This isn't the blood of a vampire, but it will quench your thirst. This is our domain, not yours. You've been warned.
Wait, I saved you from this creature. That must count for something.
Thank you. Now go. Go back to the streets and houses. There is no love lost between us, Vampire. But thank you.
Sean Hampton sent me here. I believe he wanted me to find you. Who are you?
If you must know, they call me Old Bridget. And this shelter is where we live.
I'm Jonathan Reed. I'm a newborn Ekon. I'm afraid I'm not sure what's going on.
I shall not bend a knee, young Ekon. But I sense your pain. Ask, and I will afford you my attention.
Why was that creature after you?
Fergal is the blunt instrument of the Ascalon Club. His masters would see us dead or turned into slaves if they had their way.
What the hell was that thing? He wasn't an Ekon or a Scow.
They are known as Volkod, an ancient offshoot of immortals. Blood drives them, enrages them.
What of this Ascalon Club?
Vampire Society's elite in the Empire. They make the rules and enforce their judgment upon us whom they see as lessers.
So was it you that Sean Hampton sent me to find?
Perhaps. The sad saint was always kind to us. He must trust you if he revealed our location.
Sean is a Skal. All those I've encountered have been violent, crazed creatures. How can he be any different?
Maybe because he is the sad saint. Or perhaps because I am Old Bridget of the Sewer Skulls.
Sean killed a patient of mine. And that's just one of the murders he's being hunted for.
If you refer to Harriet, she is now among us and under our protection.
Harriet Jones is alive. That's it. That's the proof Sean wanted me to find. I must talk to her.
No. Harriet is not alive. But you can speak to her. I must warn you. She is fragile and may not receive you warmly.
I don't understand.
She is filled with bile and hate. Her mind is sharp as a tack, but her body is so weak. I've never seen its like before. She is resting in a room on the far right of this hideout.
Thank you. I will bear that in mind.
Keep your distance, Echo. We're at your mercy. Will you end us?
Hello, Harriet. Do you recognize me?
Yes, you were from the Pembroke Hospital. The young doctor. So full of secrets.
I've so many questions I need to ask you, Harriet. If you would.
I love questions. As for the answers, you may not like them.
How do you feel?
I can't see. I can't move. My body's burning. I feel as if I'm dying over and over again.
Have you tried to eat or drink something?
People here tried to feed me, but I'm just not hungry. I don't have the strength.
Does the pain ever stop?
It is not pain I feel. It's like I can't stop feeling every inch of my body. But at the same time, each muscle and bone is the wrong place.
Your room, the blood. What brought you to fake your death in such a gruesome fashion?
To see if I would be mourned.
Why flee with Sean Hampton?
Oh, it's always a pleasure to see a saint fall to sin. But the coward still won't kill.
Do you take pleasure in causing so much pain and sorrow?
Nobody gave a damn about me. Not a tear shed. Poor Harriet. Always the discarded.
Why did you come here?
And why not? This is where I live now. Leave me be.
Will you respect old Bridget's wishes? Will you obey her?
Bridget is kind. She only needs to keep me fed and I'll be good.
So you desire to stay here?
Yes, I'm with my own kind. Birds of a feather, so to speak. Poor Harriet. Always alone.
I have a question of the utmost importance to ask. Will you answer?
Questions, questions, questions. The good doctor, always searching for answers.
Do you remember what you did after leaving the hospital? Did you kill anyone?
First, a question from me. You answer first.
Very well then. What do you want to know?
Are you like me? Are you also dead?
We are not dead, Harriet. Death no longer pertains to us. We are different.
I like what I am. I truly do. I relish the pain that courses through me.
I know you fled the hospital with Sean Hampton. Did you or Sean kill anyone in your flight? Anyone? Try and remember.
I will not lie. I wanted blood, and I wanted revenge, and Sean pulled me from it, brought me here instead. But the shadows heard my prayers. The shadows killed that bastard.
You sought vengeance by your own hand, and someone else obliged you. Very convenient. Don't lie to me.
I don't lie. I saw him near the docks, and rightly I wished him dead. And I am happy he is. It's true. But I didn't kill him. I was too tired.
Who was that man? The one murdered in the street?
He used to be my landlord. I lived here for many years before falling ill. Oh, he was an awful man. Disgusting and cruel. So cruel.
Shadows? Tell me what you saw.
The shadows, they heard me and answered. Something in the deep darkness. Quick, deadly. It asked me if I wanted revenge. I answered, yes.
And these shadows, this presence, do you still hear it? Was it a vampire? Did Sean see it?
It spoke only to me, and now it is silent, but it is born of hatred. And it will kill again. And it hates you, Doctor. Oh, it hates you.
What makes you say that?
It whispered your name, Dr. Reed. It wanted to know who you were and where you went.
Questions about me? What did you say?
Nothing, Doctor. I said nothing. There was nothing it didn't already know. Oh, I'm tired now. Let me rest.
Have you found the answers you were looking for, young Ekon?
There is too much left unanswered. So many questions.
Get to know us. Spend time with us. And I may be willing to answer more questions.
Why do you live here? Amongst the filth and vermin?
Live. Here we hide.
What are you hiding from?
From the guilt, the shame, from the hunters and the light. And of course, our past.
Why don't you leave the city? Hide somewhere far from the Guard of Priwen, the Ascalon Club.
We are the Sewer Skulls. This is our domain. We have run as far as we can, and now we hide.
Your diction, your words. You do not carry yourself like most Skulls I've encountered.
True. I'm not like most Skulls.
You were once someone else. What happened to you?
It is as sad as it is long, young Ekon. but it will remain mine.
Can I be of service to you?
We ask but one thing. Reveal to no one our secrets. Do not betray us.
For how long have you been in hiding here?
Skulls have been hiding under London since vampires first entered the city.
Where did you hide before the sewers?
We claimed ancient tunnels, forgotten caverns, catacombs. We are skulls, groveling beneath the feet of our makers.
What manner of creature is Harriet? She is different from everyone else.
I really don't know. I'm not even certain she is a skull. I've no idea as to what blood made her.
What is a skull, in fact, in your honest opinion?
The progeny of a vampire, disavowed by her maker. Perhaps a fruitless branch of a noble tree. A word used to enslave us. I cannot say.
You mentioned that vampire blood has tremendous potency. You believe it to be stronger than your own?
The vampire's sweet blood. That rich, dark wine that we crave. For it made us, and it can sustain us.
I thank you for your time, madam. I must go back to Shornhampton now.
Your kindness has been ample payment, Egon. To protect us, I'll close the access to our hideout, but you can use our shortcut to reach Mr. Hampton's shelter. Just follow the arrows.
Thank you, old Bridget. I hope we'll meet again.
Old Bridget says you are one to trust.